Hi there, I'm Matt Luscombe from Systems Risk Services, and today I'm going to walk through a demo of how HR users are able to escalate their privileges. So what I've done here is I've created on a Oracle demo environment. I've got a administrator user called Systems Risk, and then there is another user called Systems Risk Rogue HR demo, as if to make it slightly obvious that which user is doing this. Now, this particular user has only got two different roles assigned to it in Oracle HCM. One is the employee role, and one is the HR specialist role. This is a data role version of that. That in practice has no changes. It just has clearly you can't assign a HR role directly and still be able to see HR data unless you've turned it into a data role. So what I'm now going to do is log in as this Systems Risk Rogue HR demo user. So I'm just going to sign out from the administrator user and then sign in as our HR Rogue user. So logged in, and next I'm going to go to My Client Groups. I'm going to go to Person Management. And what I'm going to search for is a gentleman called John Dunbar. So John Dunbar, out the box in the Oracle demo systems, is a systems administrator. Now in practice, yes, this is a known account within Oracle demo environments. In real life, most HR people would probably know who the actual systems administrators are for Fusion. Certainly those that I've worked with definitely do. So this is just using standard screens through HR Specialist. And all I'm going to now go to is go to Tasks, and then I'm going to go to User Account. So under User Account, you can see all the roles that have been assigned. Now, some of those, well, most of those are out-the-box roles, but what I'm going to do today is exploit role delegations. So at the moment, this HR Rogue user has very limited privileges. It has HR and it has employee, that's it. But I'm going to, by the fact of John Dunbar, I'm going to, without him knowing it, delegate his IT security manager role. And I'm going to delegate it to me as the rogue user. Oh, helps if I type properly. There, I'm going to give it to me. And I'm going to click Save. So this tells me that the IT security manager role has been delegated to this HR rogue demo user by the rogue user. But in practice, most people are not going to know that I've assigned myself to this privilege, because there's no reports that exist out of the box to be able to show this. And even if they did, you'd have to build your own monitoring control. Right, so that's done. I'm now going to receive that privilege. Now in practice, to make life a little bit quicker, rather than wait for the demo system to eventually run the LDAP job, in real life, all clients will run a scheduled process called send pending LDAP requests on a very frequent basis. In this demo environment, that isn't the case. It's only scheduled to run every so often. So I'm just going to log back in to my system administrator user, and I'm going to manually run that scheduled process. So all this is doing is sending that change to delegate the role to another user. So send pending LDAP requests. Oh, I should have searched for it. There you go. So I'm just going to set this to run. And then I'm going to just check the process. So being a Oracle demo environment, you can see that this is running already. It may not be as quick as it would be in a production environment. And then there's lots of child jobs that have kicked off. So all I'm going to do after this is run is to go back and log back in. Right, that's all completed. The header job is still going. Still running. Sorry, to make that a bit bigger so I can actually see. Completed. Right, okay, so that job is run. I'm now going to sign back out. Hello there, going with part 2. So it's taken a little while to flow through the system, but it has now gone through. So logging back on as the system risk rogue HR demo user. And then you can see that so still the same login. We're logged in as the rogue HR, but now up here under tools, we now have access to the security console. So I've now gained access from John Dunbar, delegated it to my own rogue user in this demo environment with nothing more than the standard HR specialist role. And I can now do whatever I want. So I can go create new users. I can reset people's passwords if I really wanted to. I could look up John Dunbar and it'll be displayed. So this is the administrator user that I borrowed it from. If I really wanted to, I could go reset his password and change it to whatever I want if I manually change it. That's particularly a high risk if organizations are using single sign-on, because in single sign-on they won't know this has even happened probably, because I'm just going to click the button to automatically single sign me on and not necessarily know that somebody's manually changed my passwords behind the scenes and is exploiting my user account. So that's the end of our walkthrough. Clearly through Security Console I can do whatever I want. I can create new users, I could reset John Dunbar's password and then use his account to manually create users so it looks like he's the one that's doing it, not me. I can reset anybody's password that I wanted to, so I could take over a accounts payable clerk. If I want to, I could go take over a supplier maintenance user that I knew of. Even if I don't know who that user is, then I can look it up through Security Console. I could go change password controls if I really wanted to, and numerous other settings, all because of role delegation and the ability for HR specialists to be able to exploit that. Any further questions, please do get in contact. I'm Matt Luscombe from Systems Risk Services. Thank you.
In terms of what you could do to prevent this from being an issue, I mean, what we find from my experience of working with clients is that really it's a combination of two different things. One is around the preventative controls. So how do I stop the delegation from happening in the first place? And the second one is around the detective controls. So, okay, if it has happened, how would I identify that? And how would I monitor where delegations have occurred? So we've got a couple of different breakout things here. So the first one is around preventative controls. So things that you can do here. Well, first of all, you can stop. You can copy the seeded job role. So the nature of HCM is that you create a job role and then you then create a HCM data role based on applying security profiles to it. What we would recommend is you take a copy of the seeded job roles, you take away the specific privileges that allow HR users to perform role delegations. There are a limited number that we've found. Now, what I would say is that, as you'll note on the screen here, we've got an advanced tip as well, where if you're doing that, we'd actually suggest that you take away a whole heap of additional privileges at the same time. So if you're taking a copy of the out-the-box human resource specialist role, then that has configuration access, that has the ability to run payroll, even if you don't actually run payroll as your organization. The second one is to remove the delegation allowed setting from all roles. So in our example, it relies on the fact that the IT security manager role is delegatable out the box. If you've disabled that and you've turned it off, then that's a pretty good start. The third one that I've noted here is around training administrators not to create or amend roles to enable the delegation allowed setting. So when IT people who've got IT security manager do delegation of do assignment of roles to users, there is a little checkbox that appears on their screen that allows them to set any one role to be delegation allowed, and it doesn't just set it for that one user, it sets it for the whole role for any user. So if the IT security managers don't understand what they are doing or don't understand the implication of what they're ticking, then that can have a major impact, particularly if you've just opened it up to HR teams. The second area is around detective controls. So this is about how do I then monitor? So first of all, there is auditing available within the standard managed audit policies that allows me to enable logging on the changes to role delegations. So it will record if a role has been delegated to another user. But you need a process in place to actually extract those logs, get somebody to be able to run them, B, once they've been run, to actually review them, and C, follow up on any exceptions. So, logging is nice, it's a good starting point, but actually, if nobody's actually reviewing it and picking up, well, wait a minute, why has somebody from HR delegated a role to themselves or another user? Well, actually, that shouldn't be happening in our policy. And then the third one is around creating a report to identify where a role has been set as delegation allowed. So because, as we've talked about in the preventative control section, it is possible for any administrator to enable the delegation allowed setting, we help our clients to define a custom report and then to define a monitoring process for a non-administrator user to review this report and follow up on exceptions. Because there shouldn't be any occasions where any role needs to be delegatable. So that's come to the end of the session today. Please contact us for case studies where if you want to talk about where we've helped organizations actually fix these challenges and take them away so that they're just not an issue, but also we are then monitoring them to confirm that it never comes back again, then please let us know. I've been Matt Luscombe, and you'll see my contact details next. Thank you.